Welcome back to Red and Blue. I'm Major Garrett. The Senate took a significant step toward passing a same-sex marriage bill last week. The Respect for Marriage Act advanced with bipartisan support, 12 Republican senators voting in favor, along with every Democrat. The vote is raising some questions about whether views of same-sex marriage are shifting within the Republican Party. This bill would also, we should note, provide protections for interracial marriages. For more on this, I want to bring in David French. David is the senior editor at The Dispatch, and if he doesn't mind me saying so, kind of a thought leader on the intersection of morality, pluralism, and politics. David, it's good to have you with us.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So your reaction to Senate passage of this legislation and on the issue writ large?
Yeah, the thing that's really important about this legislation is that it really tries to harmonize two sides of the divide. On the one side are the folks that are worried about whether Obergefell v. Hodges, the case that constitutionalized same-sex marriage in 2015, is going to survive the current Supreme Court. And then those who are very concerned about religious freedom in a nation where gay marriage is protected by law. And so what this bill does is, on the one hand, it says that if you're married in one state, then another state has to recognize that marriage, can't discriminate against it on the basis of, for example, sex or race or sexual orientation. And at the same time, it preserves the protections of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. It preserves and protects tax exemptions for example, religious organizations that maintain traditional religious views of marriage. It says that nonprofit organizations are not going to be required. Religious nonprofits, for example, aren't going to be required to participate in same-sex marriages. So it really, in my view, is an example of pluralism at work, where you have two different sides of a very important question, one that is deeply felt by millions and millions of people, and it does at least something to preserve the liberties of both sides of the divide.
Pluralism is one of our overarching goals in this constitutional republic, and I want to run for you, David, something that Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said today to our colleague Chris Van Cleve about the Club Q mass shooting this weekend and the larger atmosphere around some of these underlying issues. Please take a listen.
It was a place of belonging. It was a place of community, and it came under attack at a time when the entire LGBTQ community is coming under attack. And if anybody claims to be surprised that political attacks on a community that doesn't hurt anybody are sometimes followed by violent physical attacks on that same community, I just don't think they're being honest.
So you think the political discourse that's going on now is a contributing factor to this kind of violence?
You can't target a group to be feared and to be hated. A group, by the way, that never did anything to you, but is politically convenient to attack. And then act surprised when a disturbed person, or who knows, goes out and follows that through with physical violence.
David, I'm not going to burden you with trying to reconcile these two things. The United States Senate moving toward putting into federal law protections for same-sex marriage and a mass shooting in a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs, Colorado. But the juxtaposition is incredibly jarring.
It is a jarring is a good word. It is a jarring juxtaposition. And I think what Secretary Buttigieg said that was important there, and I want to qualify by saying there's a lot we have to learn about this specific attack, right? So there's a lot to be learned there. But let's speak in generalities for a moment. It is generally true that we have had rapidly escalating kinds of political rhetoric. That is absolutely true. We have seen rapidly escalating threat environments. We just saw, for example, in the election context, that a Maricopa County official had to be moved to an undisclosed location. We have seen circumstances where there have been mass shootings. For example, the Tree of Life Synagogue. We have seen mass shootings at an El Paso, Texas Walmart. We have seen them in places like Buffalo, New York, where that rhetoric, there was a political idea attached to those shootings. And so I do think it is absolutely important for a nation where people have deep convictions to express them with conviction, yes, but with respect for the humanity of their opponents. And one of the things that's terrible about our new social media environment is that it rewards outrage. It rewards those individuals who will constantly escalate the rhetoric. And we have seen escalating rhetoric against LGBT individuals in the United States. There's this groomer smear that is flung all over the internet that is vile. It's just vile. And so I do think it is critically important for us to learn to express disagreement over the most hot button of issues with dignity, with respect for the dignity of others, with respect for the humanity of others, without abandoning underlying convictions.
And just to wrap up our first question, David, I would think you would regard what the Senate has done and what legislation is about to land on the president's desk in this regard as an expression of what you just called for. Not the courts deciding this, but the legislative body of our constitutional republic putting all these things together and doing so in a way that balances lots of competing interests.
Exactly. So you have two different sides that a lot of their interests are advanced by this legislation through bipartisan compromise. And there used to be a time when bipartisan pieces of legislation were the norm. Now it's extremely unusual to see important legislation to be so bipartisan. And here's one where you respect religious liberty and you provide concrete protections for religious liberty at the same time that you ease the concerns of those hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans who are in same-sex marriages who worry about a court decision at some undefined future time that could be incredibly disruptive and wrenching in their lives.
David French, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.